Hey guys, it's Mason from Obscure Realty Group. Are you dreaming of moving out of the city and into the beautiful countryside? Well, I am super excited to show you our listing for historic Mrs. Orcutt's house. This is a 700 square foot bespoke adobe home, competitively listed at just $3.4 million. Mrs. Orcutt's house effortlessly blends indoors with nature. It offers a private lake and sweeping views of the interstate. And of course, the piece de resistance, the grand 4-mile-long driveway leading to this remarkable property. But if that isn't enough to draw you in, here's some dry history of the legend that surrounds this estate. Mrs. Bonnie Margaret Orcutt had the only house at the end of what became known as the fastest driveway in the world. Her original driveway was much more humble, a standard strip leading directly to historic Route 66, which her property sat alongside. But with the introduction of the interstate highway system in the 1950s, that would quickly come to change. Mrs. Orcutt was not originally from this area, known now as Newberry Springs, California. As the story goes, her wealthy husband owned a lumber company and died in a plane crash. Mrs. Orcutt then decided to pack up from their home in the mountains and make a new life for herself in the desert. Packing all of her belongings into a trailer, she made the move to this location west of the town of Newberry. It was here that she parked her trailer and began building a home around it, using the resources all around her. Fashioning adobe bricks out of the soil with the addition of bitumen for waterproofing, she literally built her house by hand to include a kitchen, a bathroom, and a conservatory. Her trailer was incorporated into the construction, becoming her bedroom, and running water as well as electricity was installed to bring the house into a habitable home. She lived relatively happily here, with a baby grand piano, a cello, and a harp in her conservatory, plants and gardens around the house, and she even had several outbuildings to use as garages and workshops, and a man-made lake with a little island. That life was harshly interrupted, though, with the advent of the Eisenhower Interstate System, which parallels Route 66 for hundreds of miles across the country. This particular section of what is now Interstate 40 cut directly through her driveway, preventing her from reaching the road. With Mrs. Orcutt's property being directly connected to Route 66, the government offered her $106,000 to relocate, which is nearly $1 million today. She declined. Construction of the interstate commenced, and without a connection to a local road, Mrs. Orcutt was about to be isolated out in the desert along the new highway and with no way into town. Not one to be slighted, the wealthy widow, a trained concert pianist, as well as an accomplished shooter, decided to write a few letters. One to the First Lady, and the other to her husband, President Johnson, to appeal the construction or rectify her problems. Whether this was the catalyst that pushed the federal government to solve her problem or not, it was soon going to be accomplished. The decision then was whether to build a full set of on-ramps and off-ramps that went solely to Mrs. Orcutt's property, or pave a stretch of road that connected her property to the nearest on-ramp 4 miles to the west near Newberry. Being good stewards of taxpayer money, the cheaper option was the road. With that, a crew of men came out and paved a 2-lane road from the off-ramp at Fort Cody Road all the way out to her property. Officially, it is known as Memorial Road, but with nothing else on it, and built entirely for Mrs. Orcutt, it was for all intents and purposes her extensive driveway. She was once again connected to the town. Being a bold, independent woman, she was most likely very annoyed to find that some car enthusiasts had stumbled across the stretch of asphalt leading directly to her property. There was regular visits by individuals looking for a place to test their hot rods and muscle cars, and 4 miles of perfectly straight, pristine asphalt was hard to ignore. It became so popular that in the 1970s, Car and Driver magazine used it to take cover photos of new cars, which were also speed tested on the driveway, upwards of 200 miles per hour at times. Being an accomplished shooter, Mrs. Orcutt was known to chase them away with her shotgun at times. Their interference was so persistent, she even cut gun ports into her walls in order to protect herself from anyone who may have taken it upon themselves to rob an elderly widow. She was certainly tenacious. Though far from the community, she was hardly a hermit. Somewhat of an eccentric, Mrs. Orcutt was known as a pleasant, active, but bold resident of Newberry. So bold, in fact, that she managed to get the town name officially changed without anyone in town even knowing about it. At the time of her residency, the town was called Newberry. Through some research, she discovered that the town was originally called Newberry Springs, but the springs had been dropped from the common use at some point and was forgotten. She found this to be a shame, thinking that the actual official name, Newberry Springs, was much more enticing and more likely to attract tourists and travelers to the area. Whipping out her trusty stationery, she once again wrote a series of letters, this time to the Postmaster General of the United States. Describing in her letters the facts, the Postmaster General agreed, and the name Newberry Springs was officially re-recognized to the surprise of most of its residents. Beyond her activity in the community, she truly wanted her 40 acres to be a refuge for those coming through the area, and was regularly developing it to do so. She wanted to create a destination and a retreat. Though it's tough to imagine a lake being here, underground this whole area is a massive aquifer. A majority of the Mojave River runs directly underneath, and numerous wells brought fresh water to the surface, enough that she could fill her small lake, and from satellite imagery it appears she had another large lake under construction as well. Her grand plans included these water features, orchards, and other relaxing amenities. Though her dreams never came to fruition, she had a small oasis out here complete with an abundance of plants and animals that she regularly cared for. Mrs. Orcutt would pass in 1986 and her property fell into disuse. The lake dried up without well water being pumped into it, and most of the plumbing and wiring has been torn out by scrappers. Even more intrusively, her trailer was ripped from the walls and towed away, leaving a massive hole where her bedroom on wheels once was. You can still see where her kitchen and bath were located, as well as some of the features of her property. A little imagination and you may even be able to make out the island in her lake. With no reason to maintain the road since her passing, Mrs. Orcutt's driveway is hardly the drag strip it once was. Now crumbling and broken, it would be inadvisable to go much more than the speed limit. Though if it could talk, it would probably have some pretty interesting stories from its heyday. Check out another video here. Thanks for watching. Thanks to my Patreon subscribers for helping me get here. And as always, until next time, get lost.